Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village, there was a small stone artist's cottage tucked quietly at the end of a cobblestone lane. Morning light came through its lace-curtained windows and fell softly on the worn wooden floors inside, where old paintings covered every wall. On the walls hung paintings of rolling green hills at sunrise, blush-pink roses after rain, and the warm amber glow of cottage windows at dusk. Each painting carried something difficult to name, but very easy to feel. A warmth, a memory, a love pressed into every careful brushstroke. And all of it had come from one old paintbrush, resting quietly on a shelf above the painting table, her bristles worn and soft from years of devoted work. Then slowly, without anyone meaning for it to happen, new brushes arrived, bright and firm and confident, and the old paintbrush was quietly moved aside. She found herself moved further back each day, until she was at the very back of the shelf, where the morning light no longer quite reached her. She began to believe what the silence seemed to be telling her, that perhaps the warmth she carried was the warmth of something whose season had already passed. Then one gray winter morning, the cottage door opened and a young woman quietly inside, not looking for anything. Just something in the window had made her stop. She walked slowly along the walls, looking at each painting carefully, standing a long time before the one of the roses after rain. She reached past all the new brushes without hesitation and lifted the old one gently, turned her in her hands, and truly looked at her. Then she looked at the shelf, and her eyes moved past all the bright new brushes and found the old worn paintbrush in her quiet corner. She did not see something old or past its time. She saw something that had given the very best of itself for years and had kept the warmth of all of it still inside. She sat at the painting table, dipped the old brush into warm honey gold, and slowly began, and what came from those worn bristles was unlike any. The lines were not perfectly straight or certain, but they carried a living warmth and a kind of truth that can only come from a brush that has been through enough to know exactly what it is doing. The lines were not perfectly straight or certain, but they carried a living warmth and a kind of truth that can only come from a brush that has been through enough to know exactly what it is doing. She painted until the gray winter morning had warmed into golden afternoon, and when she was finished, she placed the old paintbrush not at the back of the shelf, but at the very front. Because this story was never really about a paintbrush. It was about every person who has ever moved themselves to the back of their own shelf and forgotten they were still worth choosing. Because this story was never really about a paintbrush. It was about every person who has ever moved themselves to the back of their own shelf and forgotten they were still worth choosing. The long, quiet seasons are not emptying you, giving your work a weight that newness cannot carry, and putting into your hands a warmth that only comes from having stayed. So let me ask you, is there a warmth you have been carrying quietly through years of being overlooked and set aside and passed over?
And maybe that was always worth the wait.